In libertarian and anarcho-capitalist societies, individuals would not be governed by the mob rule of democracy or the fear of a tyrannical government, but rather by a guiding principle of non-aggression that all individuals in the community would voluntarily agree to. The thesis behind this non-aggression principle, or NAP, is actually pretty simple. Physical aggression against somebody else or their property is inherently wrong and never to be resorted to. If everybody could just agree to stay out of each other's ways, we could let capitalism and the free market govern how society functions, instead of resorting to the tyranny of a democratic, ineffective government. The only arrangements you would ever be in were those that you actively chose to be in. If and only if the non-aggression principle is broken by an aggressor, can you then aggress back. In this way, the NAP is not wholly pacifistic in nature, but it strives towards pacifism as an ideal. Now, while to me the NAP sounds like a pretty good way of structuring society, some people criticize the NAP for being contradictory, and even anarcho-capitalists argue amongst themselves as to what the NAP says about stuff like abortion, or intellectual property rights, or nuclear arms proliferation. You purchase one nuke and all of a sudden everyone starts freaking out. Contradictions, in my worldview, as an anarcho-totalitarian communal-capitalist with progressive fascist tendencies, I cannot abide by contradictions. That being said, our anarcho-capitalist comrades are onto something here with this idea, and I think with just a little tweak, it can become perfect. I call it the Aggression Pact. The idea behind my Aggression Pact is actually pretty simple. We aggress. Put simply, everyone in the community would just agree that if a fight's gonna break out, it's gonna break out. Just let it happen. See, the issue with the non-aggression principle is that it's the equivalent of bottling up your feelings. Deep inside every man is the desire to beat someone else's head in until it's just pulp. It's not just me, right? The issue with bottling up your feelings is that sure, they might not come out then, but maybe they'll come out in a month's time when I finally launch the nuke. The point is, it's not healthy to keep your aggression pent up, and the aggression principle is the perfect way of solving this. In a world governed by the aggression principle, a fight can break out at any time for any reason between anybody. See, right now, if I were to go up to someone on the street, slap him in the face and say, "I challenge you to a duel," the guy could just go to the police and sue me. In reality, it would be better if both of us just got the aggression out of us, we fought each other, maybe we'd all become friends afterwards, maybe we'd become closer as a society. Listen, I'll just be the first to say it. Pacifism? It's overrated. Our culture puts way too little value on solving problems with force. Have you ever been in a fight? If you haven't, I recommend it. If you have, you know that feeling after the fight where you actually feel good about yourself? Like your life means something? Maybe we should do more of that. Look, all I'm saying is obesity would not be a problem in this community. Aggression would not only be acceptable, but also become the most common way of resolving conflict. Instead of two parties that hate each other having to go talk to their therapists about hating each other, they can just take it out on each other. That's a much more effective strategy. The easiest form of the aggression principle to implement would simply be a situation where you can go challenge somebody to a formal duel that they agree to, and then after they agree to that duel, basically anything goes. Duels mostly wouldn't be to the death, it would just be a fight between two individuals. They would stop at a certain stopping point, and then afterwards people could just move on with their lives. Essentially, what I'm saying here is, a society governed by the aggression principle would be a society where people can openly and honestly express and harness their anger in a positive way. I really think that the aggression principle is a great way to organize society, and the reason I feel this is because I've got all these feelings. I've got all these feelings just fucking festering inside of me, and they got nowhere to go. They got nowhere to go, so I put them in these impotent fucking YouTube videos, but it doesn't help. It doesn't fucking help. Nothing helps. Nothing helps. I'm a good person to take policy advice from.
Players been talking smack and I've had just enough of it. It's high time to quit this culture of slander without remorse. Lobbing lies and attempts to corrupt the soul. What do we do when